Hey, good morning. All right, so we're here today. We are here, and so what we're doing is, oh, let's see, we got a couple likes already. Wow, hey, pretty cool. Just going to do the old morning guitar routine. You've been here before. You know what's going on. It's just hey, Marlon, good morning. Really cool to see you over on the chord chemistry series. Good morning, Dennis. Yeah, the gang's sort of filing in. I learned another lesson this morning. Humble pie. I'm not sure if I thought I'd lost the flavor. I thought I'd lost the taste for it, but it turns out I still like to eat humble pie once in a while. So the idea is to make sure all of your apps are updated the night before you do live stream in the morning, scheduled live streams in the morning. So I think I waited for 3 or 4 minutes for the YouTube app to update today. And it's like that red light while you're waiting to get to work, you're late, you're getting to that thing. And I've got a pile of stuff I want to do today, but I know if I don't make my bed correctly the rest of the day, it doesn't seem to work all that well. Anthony, good morning. Just talking about just getting the guitar in order for the day. And this is sort of a precursor to what's coming up in 2025. It sounds to me like there are a lot of people who are interested in interfacing directly with their guitars. We're going to work on some additional fingering. That third, fourth finger stretch is more difficult than I thought. Oh, did you try it? You've probably been working through that last video, like 9F from chord chemistry, just was a bear. That just about killed me, dude. Trying to do that live while I was keeping a straight face, I'm like, yeah, that's not happening. That is so otherworldly. And I really appreciate you bringing that up, because I was wondering what the heck am I doing? Like, it's like I was like freewheeling, like going over the top of the merry-go-round with no end in sight, you know. So the first thing I like to try to do is get my breathing together. You know, if you're here, you know, basically we're here working on our breath. I'm going to play at a steady and consistent and expected sort of tempo, which is always going to be 60 beats per minute. I'm going to try to speak in a way that will not interrupt your own guitar practice while we are doing our thing. So if there's a critical moment like the tuning of the low E string, I might stop talking. And please excuse me, because it's not that I'm trying to be rude, but it's the musical thought is going to take precedence, I think, in the especially the tuning, when it comes to tuning the guitar, for sure. Can you play Rizno Sudarsono? Hello, he says. The person says. Can you play APT? What? Well, maybe. Applied physical training, is that what you're talking about? Is that an acronym? Because I think you probably are noticing that I probably could use a few more morning walks. So maybe after the morning ritual of guitaring, warm up, maybe it's a good idea to get out for a morning walk. The day starts, it'll grab you by the bullhorn so fast. So We are here and we continue to be here because we want to find a way to approach the guitar on a daily basis. So there are all of these, I could probably develop some kind of site where we could, hype it up and it's just, daily guitar. So I don't really know what we do. I know I just want to do less talking about it and more of the doing about it. And I'm going to probably continue to refer to the old Frank Zappa, shut up and play your guitar. We could talk and we could sit around and pontificate or, sort of wonder about problems. And we could probably automate solutions if we really didn't care, but this morning ritual is mostly for you, and it's definitely for me. And what I want to do is get here every morning and make it a human experience and not necessarily an automated experience, nor is it ever intended to be. So please don't get this confused with a hyped experience. So this is not that. This is that moment we take for ourselves. Now I can already feel, because I haven't warmed up my left hand. And we're about to do that. And the finger 3 and 4. Good evening, Captain Cash. Sup? Going down. What's a good catchphrase for, when we greet each other? Can we create like a sort of, if you participate in this live channel for a year, how would we know when we meet each other in a crowd? Good morning. Hey, Giver, what's going on? Good morning, good to see you. Oh, hey, we've got the old Avoid Ralph on here. No way. Ralph's on today? What's going on, Ralph? Yeah, we're definitely working on the... Happy Thursday. Ralph is a super sort of like, on his business card, you can, when you get handed, if you ever got handed his business card, he's super qualified at just about everything, but super tech guy. And then he says, he'll hand you his business card, and the only thing it says on his business card is professional, and a phone number and an email address. And it doesn't, say anything else. I thought that's probably the best business card I've ever seen. I haven't seen many better than that, and I've seen some. Oh, Heaven by Bryan Adams. Yeah, right on. Yeah, simple licks. So what I'm trying to do is work on simple licks. So simple licks, like what kind of a simple lick? I'm going to continue. I appreciate you being here and mentioning that, because the simple licks is what we're doing this for. Now, are we looking for a simple lick that is sort of a likeness or a copycat, not a copycat, a quotation that we borrow from another player, or is it something that we work on? Where are we in our development on the guitar? Are we to the point where we are writing our own stuff? Have we absorbed a lot of the available licks, super crazy easy licks on the guitar from the community, or are we writing our own stuff at this point? So that's a good question. I'm going to play a simple lick here in just one moment. It's going to be a mind bender, but it's going to be so simple, but it's still going to bend your mind, because the guitar does that. The guitar has so much potential, and you'll notice this morning that it's not Monday morning. We're getting closer to the end of the week, and you can notice that I'm playing 4 attacks per measure, or not per measure, but per beat. 60 beats per minute is the metronome click that you hear in the background. And what I'm doing is 4 attacks per beat. So when we get to 3-finger permutations, it's really going to screw us up. But we might come up with that lick that simple lick for you to get working on. I hope that you're here playing along with us, because this is all set up for us to use warm-up time. This is a morning ritual that we are engaged in. Now, if you're new here, the plan is to be here every single day. Well, 5 days a week. Let's say it that way. Every single day of the week. I guess it matters where the emphasis is. So we are going to be here at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5 days a week, all through 2025. What we're doing this for? Because everyone stopping into this channel is a glutton for punishment, apparently. To sit around and watch some old fat white dude on the internet, you know, doing guitar stuff, you know, I guess we're not just doing that, we're watching the development of our person over the next year, okay? So I want to make sure I always reference the goal, because the goal is in sight. All of the things have already happened sort of in the future, but now I need to go through the motions, the literal motions that are going to make this view or this dream come to pass. And that's literally the only thing that separates you, or I'm going to say it's not about you, it's about us, because this is applicable to it in a universal sort of sense. We don't have a view, or we don't have a goal. It can be a challenge, but that's also an enjoyable way to live too. It's that freedom that I found in Fish's music, that freedom that I found, you know, still in the Grateful Dead's music. And in perfectly, you know, in jazz, you find that sort of perfect freedom. So we're developing over the most important thing is a year from now, we'll have another video. We will have a video to watch that's 1 year beyond now. And we will come back and review the video now that we recorded, the first live stream. We'll have to go back and find it now, but I do save all of these live streams. If in this case you might find something you want to go back and review later. In this case, we'll go back in a year and review the first one, and we'll contrast it, we'll compare it to the state of the art where we all are 1 year from now. So that way we can track, literally monitor any gains that we establish. And we plan on establishing gains, right? So that's the whole thing about this. And if you've been around like Marlon, Avoid Ralph, Faxi. All right, so we're gonna play a really cool guitar lick here. I'm almost done stretching my fingers to the point where I can successfully play a really simple but really cool mind-bending guitar lick. So you notice that I try to start with 2-fret spread. I'm going back to the fingers 3 and 4 because I'm not doing that. I'm actually using fingers 2 and 4 here, aren't I? With a 2-fret spread between the two. So there is a finger stretch going. These finger stretches are going to get more and more absurd as we travel through the year. But we are all here building the community so that when, you know, the first day of the week that we hit it in January 2025, we are going to be like up to speed, up to steam, and full run uphill, right? We are going to be just nailing it. And the stretches are going to get a little bit more, they're going to ask a little bit more of us, because we'll all progress probably at different rates, but I plan on practicing, you know, a reasonable amount and maintaining myself so that I can try to keep up with you all. And that's probably the most risky part about this is what if the student becomes the master? Well, what if? You know, who cares? It's not about me. It's not about you. It's about the us, the collective here, because we're all here basically I'm trying to rid myself of ego when it comes to playing the guitar, because it's hard for me to do because I am an unhealthfully, I guess, competitive person. And most of the competition that is worth, that I need to spend time on, is competition with my own person. And once in a while, others, you know, sort of like others enjoy that same kind of sentiment. I'm losing my breath here, so what I need to do is focus for just a second. All right, 3-finger patterns, and this is what I was talking about, getting super, you know, it's sort of down and up, that we're using alternate picking with the right hand. So we have 2 options in the right hand and 3 options every string in the left hand. So the downstroke and the upstroke gets a turn. Each one gets a turn to be the sort of the dominant feature. Watching the mirror here on my phone, and it looks like my fingers are all over the place, so I've really got to dial in my thumb. You can watch where my thumb is, and it's every time my left hand ascends or descends, my thumb moves in parallel with it, so that I don't leave the thumb behind. The thumb lightly removes its pressure from the back of the neck and moves simultaneous in occurrence with the shifting of the other fingers. So these, like for example, 2, 3, and 4. Oh yeah. I'm always looking for new guitar lessons to do on the channel here. So it's not all about just digging into grinding deep all the time and trying to find those chords that can't be found. But sometimes I really like to do transcriptions and learn and teach and share songs. So like that Slipknot tune is a great idea. Yeah, so for sure, I definitely appreciate that. Whoop whoop, Ryan, what's going on? Yo, Ryan Sam's in the house. We got Al Lloyd Ralph in the house, and Anthony Tortorello. It's fun. It's fun when we get a few notes out of sync. Yeah, wild harmony. Thanks for covering me, man. I appreciate that. I definitely need that coverage once in a while. So there's this 4 attacks per beat. We're stretching the 4th finger, and then we're going to go through a sequence and stretch the 1st finger, and we're going to create our very first mind-bending yet simple guitar lick for this live stream series. And so some of you might have these mind-bending yet simple guitar licks that you want to shoot yourself doing. Just take a quick clip on your phone or whatever, and share it as a YouTube short, and then link to us or give us a hashtag or something, mind-bending something short or whatever. You guys can figure out the hashtag. Just let me know what you want to do in the comments below, and we'll run with it. First come, first serve, or you guys can, kind of work it out in the comments if you like. But I do have to pay attention because this one is asking a little bit more of my left hand than I would typically, sort of comfortable with. So you're gauging my skill level as well as following along and building your skill level. And maybe your skill level already surpasses this, but you know that it's sort of everything, it's something that you do every day anyway. And there's no better time than the morning to get up and practice and craft and manage and hone a skill of craft, because now rhythmically my breath is going to be under control for the rest of the day. And then I know if I start to things start to kind of like come apart at the seams while I'm drafting an email, that's not something that someone's going to receive very well. I might breathe and then receive, just take a little breather there, and then just sort of give it another. So one of my friends says, don't respond to an email, within 24 hours. Give it the 24-hour rule. Anybody else use that 24-hour rule? I used to think it was a sloth-like symbol of disrespect to wait for a day to email back, but really, it's a respectful and considerate way to communicate with your the fellow, your colleagues, people you care about, the people you want to see do well, because a rising tide floats all boats, right? And so this one is the first finger stretch. Maybe you can see it. I'm working on camera angles, coming into the new year. We'll have a lot of this stuff wrapped up. Avoid Ralph is, one of those consultants for us. And he does a great job sort of in pioneering, initiating new tech and new equipment and new programming, that kind of stuff. He likes to do it. He's really good at it. And he's worth every penny. I don't know if he's open for more work at the moment, but he's great for that. Okay. Marlon. So Marlon says, I see him frequently. I see Marlon frequently on the on our chord chemistry series, and he, some of you might be here because of the chord chemistry series, and realize, quickly that, hey, we're in the deep end, and if we don't know how to sink to the bottom of the pool, hold our breath for a couple minutes and come back, push back up or whatever, if we can't manage our breath, then we're definitely going to have some challenges in other places. So while I'm talking just for a minute, because I haven't fully read the question, I recognize I need to stretch my hand now and think a little bit. I'm going to manifest a mind-bending yet totally simple guitar lick, right? And these are things that you can do for yourself. Sometimes we'll look at other people's stuff, other people's ideas, study those, absorb those, and learn those and share those. Other times we'll do a bit of self-discovery, and we'll create our own licks and our own nomenclature that is it's consistent with others practicing in the world around us, but it is distinctively ours. And if you ever had that question about why, there will never be another you, right? It's competition becomes a moot point, because as soon as you realize, or as soon as we realize, there will never be another me, that sort of makes the level of our work even that much more important, right? To carry that torch as far as we can, for as long as we can, to advance the race, to advance human civilization, right? That's what I'm talking about most of the time in these morning warm-ups. But we have, can you speak on what type of work you had to put in as a new guitarist? Oh, yeah. I think we're in tune. Just real quick, just to address Marlon's point, I can speak to it, because at one point I was still a new guitarist. And every morning, this is no joke. Every morning I wake up and I come to the guitar, and it feels like the first time. No, what a loser, huh? What a loser answer. But it literally is. It feels like it's the first time I've ever touched the instrument. I really try to approach the instrument that way every day, just so I don't lose the magic, because what we're doing here, literally, if people are coming, in thousands to watch this live stream, or to come in contact with it somehow, come in and out. But if you're literally here for the next year, you're going to learn what it means to burn out, right? We're going to share the whole nitty gritty. All of it is going to be shared through this whole process. This is literally what I would do if I was a beginning guitar player and I wanted to build a successful professional trajectory for my lifespan as a musician who happens to specialize in the art of playing guitar. Okay, so that's where I'm at. And it's not always pretty, as you might figure out if you if you enter the business, but it is remarkable, and it is grand, and it is all of the things that you can imagine it is. It absolutely is. The beginning of it all is breath control. So I never put any work in, Marlon. So that was the thing. There was never any work. I never perceived it when I was younger as work, because I always thought work was something that I would never ever want to be caught doing 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. But we all have different callings, right? So if I like to make donuts, I'm going to get hired by a local bakery, and I'm going to make some donuts, and I'm going to make the best possible donuts that I can make. And I'm going to hire the best possible counter people, customer service interface that I can, so that the customers coming into my world to interface with my world will have the best, smiliest, or most human interface possible, while getting that wonderful, that tasty, crispy on the outside, chewy on the inside, whatever that favorite is. We pay attention to the customers and what their wants are, and we get really good at doing those things. And so the music business is similar to that, I think. It's right now, it's a little bit more, happy birthday, Michael. Oh, hey, Dennis Smith, happy birthday, Michael. Yeah, all right, maybe a happy birthday's in order. We've been doing that, and we worked out a really cool happy birthday. The very first one we did, I'll have to go back and see which live stream it was, but that arrangement of happy birthday was a one-off. And I haven't played it since, haven't thought about it until just now, but it's a good one. So let's take a quick look. Maybe we'll play a happy birthday in blues, right? All right, good point. Ludi, great point. It's a hey Jake, this is a Martin guitar. Can you play some Fleetwood Mac? Let's try to do this. Let's play Happy Birthday, Michael, and on a Martin, with some blues that would be imagined as if Fleetwood Mac would play it. All right? You're going to have to give me a second, because it's going to happen right after this lick, right after this mind-bending lick that's totally easy to play. A Martin. Well, if it's one of your dream guitars, dude, all you have to do is set a goal and earn that cash to get it. It's really about making. It's about being disciplined for me, because I'm not, the independently wealthy type. I might appear that way because I feel that way, right? But when I want to get something figured out, I'll just map it out. Like, let's say I want to win Winfield, national flat picking competitions. What would I do in order to prepare myself for that a year from now? Would I practice every day for half an hour, an hour, an hour and a half, 3 hours a day? Maybe. Do I want to beat Matt Lindsay if he shows up there? You bet I do. Don't tell him that. Oh, man. We'll probably get a little internet rivalry going. Be like Mike Tyson and what's his face, whatever that guy's name was. He's credible, though. He did a great job building up the fight for boxing. Great work. So let's take a look. You can make a Martin happen for sure. And I keep meaning to send a link, because on my community page, to a guitar just like this one. And let's take a look at that lick. So what is the goal of the lick? Is it just a sort of a Nirvana-esque or Nirvana-esque, Eagle-esque? Is it, is it like a Beatle-esque lick? I'm going to try to go for none of the above. I'm going to try to go for, let's just try to pick out something in the mind, a musical sound. I have an idea that I want it to be a bend because it's a mind-bending, but yet simple riff or a lick, right? So I think it's going to start with fret number 4 on the B string, and you can play along. Hopefully you have a guitar and you are here playing along in tune and all that stuff, warming up. The dream is to have all of us as force multipliers doing this good work, and a year from now, all of a sudden, we'll have thousands of great guitar players, and where in the heck did they all come from? Like, why are guitar sales nationally increasing instead of decreasing, you know? So that's the kind of stuff we're working on. We're working on bettering the world, giving more jobs, doing more things. I mean, this is a big deal, right? So if you want to smash that like button, we definitely like that stuff too. So here's the 4th fret. I'm going to use fret number 5, which happens to be the same as the open high E string. I'm going to use fret number 5 as a reference pitch. Now, I'm going to use that because I want to bend up to it, okay? And I want that bend to be perfect. I think that's good, but I'm not sure, so I'll go double check the note. I think we may have been a little sharp there. But once we get this bend, it is ridiculously easy, but at the same time, it's really not. It's really not that easy, you know, to get that bend correctly. That's 1 half-step bend. So I guess that would be the mind-bending simple lick, and it's a phrase ender. It's a phrase starter. It works with so it starts with some sort of descending bend, which is unusual for a guitar. But it immediately goes back to the note from whence it came with the open high E string by attacking the open high E string. And then we use a hammer-on from fret 2 to fret 4, and then we're using that downstroke, and then while we're using that downstroke and a hammer-on to fret 4 with the 3rd finger, we're going to activate or attack that open high E string, and then double it up. We're going to slide from just where that 3rd finger left off on fret number 4, and sliding right up from 4 to 5. Okay. I'm going to do that a few times slowly, and you're going to realize what I'm doing here. Just one moment. So I'm going to pre-bend that. So I will have had to have memorized where that bend needs to be, so that when I pre-bend, it will already be in tune. So there's a little bit of fine motor memorization here. Spatial intelligence needs to be developed by learning this bend. This is the kind of stuff, as a beginner, that I would do. These are fundamental things that I sometimes forget that I still need to do. So that little slide, all of that play around that E note gives us some ambiguity to deal with, right? We're creating questions for knowledge gaps. Like, most listeners know that things are going to go a certain way. Most of us are familiar with, you know, what happens on pop radio enough to be sort of expecting something like what is going to happen. So, but this kind of stuff is designed to keep the ears attentive. You know, it's designed to be saying something relatable, but something just different enough that can still be accessible. And are your ideas, do you believe in your ideas enough that maybe one day all of this work will pay off and you'll be playing your ideas on a stage? Maybe. See, I'm bending the B string out of tune a little bit, right? So we do need to double check during practice session that we maintain the tuning of the instrument. So that's a really important thing to do. So here it is one more time. And this is a really special moment because I think it's a hashtag. And we could, good morning from PA, right on. Good morning, Terry. What's going on? We're engaged in a live stream, and if you haven't been here before, we're doing this 5 days a week, all through 2025 at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's designed to be a warm-up and an awareness builder for the day, just a warm-up. So we've worked on this mind bender, mind bending. I might do a hashtag on this kind of thing, see if you guys want to post some of your own and share them with us. So down, daga, bunga, down, 1 and 2. So 1 and 2, down, big, I can double the speed and try to bring it up to tempo. And I would use it in a fill, as a fill, something like this. Only I would let the high E string ring on top. Here comes Happy Birthday to you, by the way. Happy birthday, dear, was it Michael? Happy birthday to... This is kind of not going in the direction I was thinking it might go in. So where would it go? And no disrespect, but... So happy birthday to you. There it is. And this is part of what I wanted to talk about today as an extension of the warm-up. So I'm working with all 4 fingers, but I also have been just using them in a linear fashion. But I don't want to do that. I also want to be in control if I need to use other fingering options. So there's 1, 2, 4, 3, 1, 2, 4, 3, and so on. Yes, this is another great one to use, ascending and descending, and this is one of those. So it's 1 E and 1 E and 1 and 2 and 3. So 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 1, 2. So 2 beats, 2 attacks per beat. And why am I doing this at 2 attacks per beat when I started the lesson, or my warm-up at 4 attacks per beat? Well, this is a bit more engaging for my mind, and I want to be sure that everything that I do is calculated. You can see all of the fingers are very controlled in their approach to the guitar. I don't have fingers lifting off of the string, the fretboard, like they're going to, going long. So it's, left field is not where I want my fingers to be. I want my team to be sort of dialed in and ready to kind of like be called on, because they're all, you've seen what we're doing. I mean, what we're doing. We're building capacity for every finger here. So every finger has the capacity to run whatever play we ask it to, with all of this work that we're doing in the morning. So this slow roll is sometimes, it's definitely necessary, but sometimes I know I overlook it. I know if I do, that means some others of us also could tend to overlook the slow roll things. So the 1, 2, 4, 3, 1, 2, 4, 3, just to mix it up a little bit. The fingers are going to learn what you teach them. And unfortunately, there is no way to play the things that we have not taught them, right? It's like, I don't know what I don't know, and that really terrifies me, There's a lot that I might not know, but I do know that I want to continue along with giving my fingers the best possible opportunity I can provide for them. I want them to feel like they're off to the spa. And it's a great analogy. So you have that 1, 2, 4, 3, 1, 2, 4, 3 monotony, but it's not monotony when we're focused on literally every motion that gets us there. I see 10 likes too, and that's great. Our track record here, one of the things we like to do is keep our milestones and just keep reaching goals and keep setting goals. So if we can get to 20 likes, that's a great thing for this particular live stream feed. Certainly appreciate any help you feel like you could give to get us to 20. Oh, I see a like. I see another one there. Yeah, that's great. That's a beautiful thing to see. Yeah, it's great to know that we're reaching each other. It's great to know that we're reaching, other people who are also really interested in developing something for themselves that they can share with the world. So, and those kinds of people are, they exist, and they do really want to do good work. So those fingers, will put them back to work, but this time we'll go ahead and use a minor. We're just going to orient ourselves towards minor today, because we've been working on major scales. This is what we've been working, and we've been using, patternizing, all of that stuff, right? Yes, we have. And then we've been using thirds, fours. We've been using fives, right? Sixes. We've been using sevens. Where's that go? We've been using sevens. We've been using octaves. We have one more that we can go there. have a lot of stuff that we've been working on, so I don't want to introduce a whole lot of new stuff at the moment yet. But it's important to understand that we are practicing minor at the same time. Let's take a look at what I mean by that. So if I start with C and I tonicize that area with a C major 7 chord, which you probably likely all know and love so well by now, we are going to play the scale. And then we're going to play the chord, the scale, and the chord again to kind of give us that whole tonality. We can play the same exact scale, right, without changing any fingering, but we can use mode 2 of that C major scale. So we have C, which is C major 7, or C Ionian mode. Mode 2 would be D Dorian mode, or D minor. D minor with, you know, it's 1, 2 flat. Well, let's walk through it. Let's say that we use the D note as the root note instead of the C note. C note gives us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 1. 1, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. C, B, A, G, F, E, D, C, B, C. It also gives us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, ti, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do, ti, do, re. It gives us that. But we also have here, we have alterations based on that. If we call D number 1, D is going to be 1 now, 2, and then a 3 is typically like 2 whole steps, but we only went up a whole step and then a half step, so that's a minor third. And if you wanted to learn more about that stuff, we can do that. But now we're just walking through the scale. So 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, 6, flat 7, 1, and then that's the D minor sound, D Dorian mode. Or it's pretty much a minor scale with a natural 6 in it. So you have that, you retain some of that brightness on the upper tetrachord of the scale. So instead of playing the major key, I'm going to use the second mode of major, which is in key of C. It's D Dorian, or D minor with natural 6. So that means that I'm studying this with all my heart. I'm looking at, I've completely abandoned C major, although I'm using all of those same tones. I'm going to use only D minor. I'm only going to think about D minor. So what's a good D minor voicing? Like, this is a good D minor voicing, D minor 7 voicing, fret 12. And then we have fret 10 on the low E. Fret 10 is kind of covered triple stop by the D on the D, G, and B strings by the 3rd finger. And I just place that 2nd finger on the same fret, and I let that 2nd finger choke out the A string. And then as I sort of play through the rest of the chord. Yeah. So that's what that is. That's D minor 7. So 1, flat 7, flat 3, and 5. And if you were following along in Ted Green's, book, you could also justify that this is, D minor 7. With the flat 7 in the bass, the 5, the 1, and the 3, the flatted 3 on the top. So that's also important to understand that. So, D minor 7 happens everywhere on the guitar. And what I'm going to do is find out a way, I'm going to figure a way to capitalize on that. So the melody of the of the D Dorian mode is definitely brighter. There's a 6 here. We could use just the D minor chord and open, right? It's a completely different feel. Like all of the gravity works differently. You know, when you put something different at the center as the center of gravity, it's the orbits are all different. The locations are all different. And then I could use chord progressions that are customary to that key, like such as the 1 minor and the 2 minor. All right. I was wondering if somebody was going to ask for a link to that. Now, what are you actually looking for? The backing track, like not the chords, or what do you? I'm thinking the backing track, like a chord progression, would be good so that you have something to practice over and to jam over it. And we have a studio that produces that for you. And then that way you can sort of expand on your ideas. But are you looking for in writing what I just did here? Oh, PDF to read the changes. Gotcha. All right. I was thinking, you know, it's funny you mentioned that. I was thinking that this morning before. I was thinking about that, how it might be a good idea to be able to, you know, if you're going to stop in here, you can just swing on over to the site and grab a, you know, a download that's been pre-prepared or preloaded for you. All right. Yeah. I hear what you're saying. Good idea, wonderful idea, and it's definitely appreciated. So just to recap today, what we've covered so far is tuning. We tune every day, 5 days a week for the entire next year of 2025. We've been through our chromatic warm-ups with fingers 3 and 4, 2 and 3, and then 1 and 2, and we've also done all of that work down to fret 1 and then back up to where we started. We also are including the stretch exercises between fingers 3 and 4. We're only using one fret stretch at the moment, but that will likely increase to an absurd level. And then we're using the same 2 fret, you know, 1 fret skip between fingers 2 and 3. All of that same work. Fingers 1 and 2 with that stretch, even though it's not that, you know, as difficult or as challenging as other finger groups, we still do all of this to balance out the left hand. Then we use 3 finger groupings, and then up and down each position, all the way to position -1, if you will. There's no fret back here, so we came all the way back up to where we started from on position, you know, position 9. So frets 10, 11, 12. And then we started with four finger warm-ups, which we took a lot of time to get through. You know, we just definitely were working. We were working slowly at 60 beats per minute, 4 attacks per measure, 4 attacks per beat. And then we start working on the stretches with finger, same thing, 4 fingers with a 4th finger stretch all the way down and back. We do 4 fingers with a 1st finger stretch all the way down and back. And then all of that is programming the left hand. Once the left hands are programmed, you know, the guitar world is yours, because we're going to be armed with all of those things that we need to survive in the wilderness of guitar, whether it be electric guitar, if we're playing Tex-Mex, we're playing alt country, we're playing jazz, like, you know, Bill Frisell tweaking it hard, and then, or we're, you know, Ted Greening it, and really have to be on top of every note in every place all at once. There's something going on here for sure. And we want to be prepared for that. And I think that's why we all sort of are planning to show up. And if you have friends, by the way, if you have friends who you think are interested in this, if you have friends who are also guitar players or bandmates, it may be a good idea to share. They might be interested in. Hopefully they're not too bothered if you share something like this with them. But if they're guitar players and you think they would enjoy it, please share this live stream, because it's every morning, 5 days a week, 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And let's see. All right, back on the game here. Just real quick, I feel like we're wrapping it up, and I don't want to get into a situation where I continually like hold you over, because this 7:30 a.m. meeting is only intended to be a half hour, you know, half-hour warm-up. So, you know, if you want to jump and you've got other things to do, you can. I'm probably going to hang out for a few minutes just to get finished that idea that I had in D Dorian. So that would be the arpeggio right here in that position I'm looking at. I'm just going to keep talking my way through it if you're hanging out. I'm using, you know, 4th finger, 2, 1, 4, 1, 4, and then I'm borrowing that 4 to grab flat 3, 5, flat 7, and 1. And then I'm descending that pattern. Everything that, Joshua Newman, what's going on? Joshua, nice to see you here this morning. What's going on is you know, we're just working on Dorian. We're practicing, and so I had a friend a couple of days ago on a stream say, ask me if I always practice in major, and it just like, it really just kind of, it rung a bell. It's like I started to salivate immediately. I thought, you know, I could just go right into talking about why I practice what I practice, because that C major scale right here has 4 arpeggios that I use with it regularly. And this is a Hoffman thing, right? So this is like, he's like, why learn all this new stuff? When you're learning all this stuff, you know, right away, early on, why would you bother? And he had a pipe, you know, he's got a pipe in his mouth. He's got bald top of his, long hair, black, pulled back with a beard, you know, and in his satin paisley shirt, sitting back there, smoking his pipe. On my very first session with him, oh, yeah, good. Joshua, man, to be honest, I don't know a whole bunch of scales. I use more shapes and stuff. That guitar, fortunately for us, the guitar is a shape instrument, right? And it's a great thing to do. Now, was Tom sitting there, he's like, why bother like learning all of this stuff? You know, this stuff works, man. And, you know, he's nodding, he's super cool. Taking a puff of his lavender and Cavendish, set it down when he gets serious, you know. He'd sit up and get serious, like, wow, yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, man, yeah. And he'd really pay attention to what you were doing, everything you were doing, very attentive. And so he's like, just, you know, these 4 arpeggios outline all of the sonorities that you need in A major scale in diatonic music, right? And I'm like, okay, you know, what? So he's, I'm sure he's just having a field day with me, right? So the major 7 arpeggio. And then there's this, I don't need to do major 7 up here anymore because, you know, I already got the major 7, which is 1. The 2 minor 7 is the other one. The 5 dominant 7 is the other one. And then the 7 half diminished, or minor 7 flat 5. Oh. Is the 7, right? Is the other one. So that's 4 types. So here's the major shape, the minor shape, the dominant shape, and then the 7 minor 7 flat 5, which is sort of like, you know, really cool. 1 3 5 7 1, you know, Garden of Eden kind of stuff. No sharps, no flats, you know, 1 3 5 7 1. The 2 minor is 1 flat 3 5 flat 7 1. And then the 5 dominant is 1 3 5 flat 7 1. And then the 7 minor 7 flat 5 is the, you know, basically the 1 flat 3 flat 5 flat 7. So it just gets a little further, a little more altered the further we get away from Eden, right? And then that's about as far as you can get, you know, harmonically away from 1, right? You're near 1. 5 is theoretically the, you know, the dominant is theoretically as far as we can get away from 1, theoretically, right? So we have this really cool, like, major 7 shapes. That's why I practice this all through. I practice these specific shapes through the cycle 4 sequence until I get to, you know, until I get to B, and then it's the cycle repeats itself. So there's a reason why I practice those things. And then, you know, whatever that reason is because I have access now to all these other, you know, beautiful sonorities, all right there within. All within the major scale. It's all right there. But let's see. I see a couple questions here, or a couple comments. I was wondering how you made that improvisation sound so good yesterday with that chord progression that I gave you. Oh yeah, what type of scales did you use? You know, that's a good question. That's all coming right back here to those. All of these scales are movable. That's the cool thing about the guitar, and Joshua, Mr. Newman, talking about just being a shape player. Well, that's kind of like what we want to do. We want to learn all the shapes or scales and all these things so that we can memorize, internalize them, and then eventually just sort of like forget them, right? But we had a nice sort of, it reminded me like a Spanish Phrygian yesterday. There was an A minor, a G6, and then an F major 7, and then an E, where there was a nice like descending chord pattern that ended up with E major. And if we wanted to do that same thing in the key of D minor, yeah, that flamenco is coming from, you know, sort of that Spanish Phrygian or harmonic sound that you set up in that chord progression at the end of the chord progression. So that E right there is just, it's magic, because in the key of D minor, right, or A minor, that would have been, you know, A natural minor, that would have been an E minor. The 5 minor would have been, the 5 would have been minor. But for now, let's take a look at what Giver's chord progression yesterday looks like from A minor. Let's transpose it, because this is another part of what we wanted to do to warm up our brains for guitar. And right now I'm really running on the edge of time. I think I could be keeping many of you from things that you might want to get done, so I won't keep you much longer, but I do want to just convert that progression to D minor, just because we're talking about D minor in that scale warm-up that we used this morning. So D minor descends down to, or D minor 7 even, descends down a whole step to C major, and then down another whole step to the flat 6 major, which is sort of not typical to D Dorian. We would see like let's see, how would we do this? So we want to be on A, so we've got to use this A minor here. Let's use a D relative minor. So we'll ship ourselves out of D Dorian, okay? And then we're moving back down to, so D minor 7, and then down a whole step to C major, down another whole step to flat 6 major, and then down another half step to the 5 A7, which would be A major, which would typically be a minor 7 in the minor key, in the parent key. Kind of funny stuff to talk about. Now the trick here is we don't have as many apparent open strings with the key of D. What do we have, the D minor, what do we have available for? I always ask myself this, what do I have available for open strings in the key that I'm playing in? Right now I have all of these strings work for the key of D major, D minor, except for the open B string, right? That should be B flat. So all of the open strings definitely work. So I could incorporate open strings into the strategy of playing, developing a chord pattern. This is where we start talking about outlining chord changes. And so we could just keep playing D minor pentatonic. But we start running out of definition a little bit, right? The music that we're trying to play is having, like, if you're into computer science, there's a little bit of a register overrun going on here. So yeah, we don't like that, so we could add another note, right? What we're going to do, let's add, the minor pentatonic. We can alter pentatonics, we don't always have to play the pentatonics that we've been given. Keep that in mind. The pentatonics that we have been given they're a tool. And a tool can be honed, it can be welded, it can be rebuilt, it can be remade to serve another purpose. So that minor pentatonic, which is easy for us, the scale of many, or a pentatonic, or which is a 5-note scale, we can add, So everywhere I was going to play the 1, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 7, 1, I could play the flat 6, if I need to, if I feel like I need to, you know, like kind of like, you know, the opening scale, the opening rip on the Stairway to Heaven solo with that flat six. You know, he's definitely outlining the flat six there instead of continuing along with the minor pentatonic shape. So what we could use, you know, we could, within reason, could also use double stops are really great. You know, George Thorogood, no one does double stops like Thorogood. Man, he'll drive a crowd completely to a frenzy, like just lose their minds. Their stinking minds are gone. So it's all about what you want to do. A little sip of the bean. I'm getting ready to move on. I really appreciate all of you hanging out again today. I'll see you again tomorrow. Last day of the week tomorrow, big day. So we want to celebrate. Also, I wanted to make a note that make a mention that we did hit 10,000 subscribers, and it's all because of you why this is working, right? So keep that in mind. The whole reason any of this works at all is number one, I'm willing to show up, right? I guess it would be someone else or something like that, but you're the one that is making this content possible. Literally, you are the person making, you know, stuff like this possible, like to get up and talk about in the morning, first thing, just to talk about goodness and how we can share and develop and nurture and embrace and push goodness out, send goodness out, share goodness out into the world we live in, which we live. It's irreplaceable. Like, you know, yeah, that's immediately what I thought of when I heard the flat six. Let's go. Yeah. All right, Kipper, nice. So it's just one of those things where we also are playing a triad. So we have a D minor, we have a C major, and then we have a B flat, and then we have an A major. I guess it's A major. So we might want to just start, you know, just outlining those arpeggios. I don't know how to say this slowly, so this is, or quickly, but this is just a lot to, if you're new to arpeggios, what we're doing is we're breaking the chord down to its root, flat three, you know, to its atomic pieces, right? So root, flat three, and five. I'm using that same shape an octave higher, root, flat three, and five. Root, flat three, and five. And you know that we've been working on exercises to get ourselves comfortable up here without the thumb behind the neck. So, and then we have that, just we need to follow along where we just keep an eye out where the roots are, and we can play all those arpeggios. So here's another one. The 1, 3, 5, 1, 3, 5, 1, 3, 5. Right, now always watch where the first finger is. Because if the first finger is where it's supposed to be, all other fingers fall into place because we're position players. That's the kind of stuff that we're cultivating. We're playing positions on the guitar. So the position is what's important, right? So the position is good posture, good strong breath that is separate from the guitar, so that our bodies can function without interruption, and then we can play it at our best of our ability. Let's get back on the metronome. Sorry. We could also start up here on D minor. So it's if you wanted to, you can follow along on the chord patterns just by using arpeggios. And it outlines, it's very nice, it's generous of the guitarist or the musicians to do this, because there's a, you know, it's easy on the ears for the audience. The audience can understand because we're literally guiding them where to go. So, you know, we've got a point on the Mona Lisa. We just popped a red dot on the Mona Lisa, and that way I know exactly where I'm going to look, because that's not supposed to be there, right? So we're definitely making it easy for the audience to appreciate the chord progression that we're playing, even though we're not literally not playing the chord as chords. We're playing the chords as arpeggios. And then here is the chord pattern. So what we're doing is we're working between solo. Or whatever it is, that craziness. So it does really it does really help. And the warm-ups are just about there, and I'm getting ready to just follow me over to TikTok. I'm headed over there for about a half an hour right now. I'm going to work on some more arpeggiation, and maybe I'll see you over there. And if I don't see you over there, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I hope you are able to really enjoy the day and that we've been given. And I hope to see you again tomorrow morning at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And until we meet again, happy picking. Oh yeah, the Polyphia reference, man. See you soon, Gibber. See you all soon. Travel well.